How long can you keep hops in your freezer until they start to go bad? To find out, I'm brewing 2 American Pale Ale batches. One will receive Cascade hops from a freshly purchased bag where the hops were harvested last year. The other will use the exact same recipe, except the Cascade hops have spent 6 years in my freezer. I'm brewing both beers and serving them to tasters in a blind triangle test. Can they detect a difference?
The red one was different. I picked the odd one out is the green one.
For that matter, can I?
My guess is the blue is the odd one out.
Let's find out. I'm Martin Keane, and this is your Brülosophy show. So I'm going to brew an American Pale Ale, well, 2 American Pale Ales in these 2 brewery systems at the same time, separated by 20 minutes. Let's get the water in. Now before we can do anything with hops, we need to figure out a malt bill. I'm brewing 2 5-gallon batches using 90% Pale Ale malt, and to that I'm adding 7% Caramel 20 and 3% white wheat malt. Alright, so let's brew this thing. I'm already mashing in this guy. Added in my grains about 20 minutes ago, so now it's time to do this one. And I've crushed these grains to be pretty fine crush. I find that's most efficient with this brew in the bag system. And this is not a high gravity beer, it's going to be around 4.9%. The mash doesn't take that long, I find, when you do crush that finely. But I need to be consistent between these 2 systems, so I'm just going by the book today. So I'm going to be mashing both of these for 60 minutes, and they are 20 minutes apart. So this guy's got 40 minutes to go, this guy will mash for 60. And as for mash temperature, 152 Fahrenheit, 67 Celsius. Now when I started to really get into all grain brewing, I decided it would make a lot of sense to buy ingredients in bulk. And in January of 2018, I went to Yakima Valley's Hops website. They had a sale and I bought a ton of hops. And here we are in 2023, and I still have some unopened. Yes, they're sealed, and yes, they've been frozen the entire time, but a 6-year-old hop's still good? I think it's time we found out. So I'm going to brew an American Pale Ale, and I am going to use for my flavor and aroma hops exclusively Cascade. One batch will use this Cascade from 2017, and the other batch will use a fresh packet that I've just received from YVH of Cascade from their 2022 harvest. 5 years difference between these guys. Does it make a difference? Well, there is a clear difference here, and it kind of has made me have to think about how to really conduct this experiment, because I was originally thinking I would just use Cascade for everything, for bittering, for flavor and aroma. But there is a significant difference between these 2 hops in their alpha acid content. 7.2 for the 2017 variety and 4.7 for the 2022 variety. I've got a workaround for this, and that workaround comes in the shape of Warrior. This is going to be the universal bittering hop between these beers. So both of them will have Warrior as the bittering hop, and then I will only use the Cascade for the flavor and aroma hop. I mean, that's typically where you'd use Cascade mostly anyway. And then because I'm adding that so late into the boil, the IBU differences between these 2 beers will be pretty minimal, and I'm not expecting that to be much of a factor when comparing the 2 beers. I've completed the mash in the first batch and removed the basket. Now it's time to add in the hop addition. So this is my 60-minute addition. This is the Warrior hops, and 15 grams of that. In it goes. With the wort chilled and moved to fermenters, I added Imperial Flagship, that's A07 or the Chico strain, and fermented at 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius for about 2 weeks. Curiously, the beers had slightly different finishing gravities. The old hops beer finished at 10.08, with the new hops beer finishing a couple of points lower at 10.06. Now, rather than having folks come to me to collect data, a brewmaster Whit Baker invited me to a closed session at one of his breweries, Ancillary Fermentation. Ancillary is not your typical brewery. It's a converted bank retaining much of that original layout, including the bank vault, which is quite wonderfully a walk-in fridge where the kegs are stored. Now, Wit invited something of a who's who of local professional brewers to taste my beers.
Hi, I'm Whit Baker, brewmaster at a couple different breweries.
My name is Brian Johnson. I'm with Edit Beer Co. in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Hey, I'm Kat. I am the general manager of Atlantic Brew Supply.
I'm Clay Fussell. I work with Wake Tech in the Wake Tech Brewing Program.
And taste they did in the bank conference room. This was truly one of the coolest Brülosophy experiences I've had so far, slinging beers to the pros and getting their feedback. And a huge thanks to Wit for hosting me. Participants received 3 coloured cups. In one cup they received the new hop beer, and the other 2 cups contained the old hop beer. Participants went in blind with no idea of the variable and were simply told to identify the odd beer. How did they do? Well, before we get to the results, a quick reminder to consider becoming a patron of Brülosophy. By committing to a small monthly pledge, you'll receive rewards like access to unpublished recipes, unique discounts at Yakima Valley Hops, and an invitation to a live Q&A session. Okay, so back to Ancillary. After taking the test, I asked several participants how it went.
So no, it wasn't hard at all. Of the 3, there were 2 that were very fruity, very hop forward, and 1 that was just almost bland.
For some reason, my brain kept going back to the red cup.
I picked the odd one out, is the green one.
Initially, I definitely picked up something different in green.
The red one was different?
What one was it?
Not exactly a clear consensus. So the overall results, let's take a look. Well, a total of 20 participants took the test. While 11 tasters would have had to accurately identify the unique sample in order to reach statistical significance, only 9 did, indicating participants in this study were unable to reliably distinguish an American Pale Ale with Cascade hops from 2022 versus with Cascade hops from 2017. And it turns out that Wit was not surprised by this.
I don't think you're going to get actionable, tell the difference research on that, because the way that modern hops are packaged, they hold up well over 5 years.
But that's not quite the end of the story. You see, I took the test myself. Now, I'm not blinded to the variable, so I undertook 5 triangle tests. So I'm now going to take the triangle test myself 5 times. I have my helper here who is pouring beers off camera. This could be 2 of the old hops and 1 of the new, or 2 of the new and 1 of the old. I don't know.
It is 2 of the new, 1 of the old, or 2 of the old and 1 of the new, or all 3 of the old or all 3 of the new.
Oh, no. No, none of that, please.
Good luck, Mark.
Thank you. I'm going to need it. Yeah, I think those are different. My guess is the blue is the odd one out.
Unfortunately, the red one is the odd man out.
Oh, man.
This is made with the fresh hops. The red one's made with the fresh hops.
Okay, so with that little bit of extra information you give me, I'm just going to... Okay, I can do better.
Okay.
Put me back in the game, coach.
All right.
Round 2. The aroma, I think, is a bust. I can't tell the difference on the aroma. I think I can tell it's just on the back end of the finish when you drink it. See, right away I would say that's the new hop. Also the new hop. Yeah. Blue is the odd man out, and it's the old hop.
Blue is the odd man out, and it is the old hop. Congratulations.
I got this.
Spot on that.
I got this. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again. Old hop, new hop, old hop. Okay, it's blue again.
You, sir, have a discerning palate.
Old hop, new hop, old hop. Green.
Spot on again. Last and final round. I will be shocked if you don't get this one.
That's definitely the old hop. Yeah, that's new. Red is the odd one out. Red is the old hop.
Spot on once again. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you. To me, the difference is on the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had to express a preference, I do have a strong preference. The new hop is much more well-rounded, doesn't have that bitter finish the red has. I couldn't identify it the first time, but once I was told which was which, I can pick it out every time. Well, eventually I absolutely nailed this. But even though I could detect a clear difference, if I'd taken this test just once, like the other participants did, I'd have been scored as an incorrect answer, which leaves me a bit unsure of how to conclude this. The results came back insignificant for blinded tasters, taking the test just once, but I'm convinced that, at least in this one data point, older hops resulted in a notably different beer. Now, am I going to go and throw out all my old hops as a result of this? No, because perhaps the difference can be accounted for in other ways, such as the 2017 batch of Cascade. They just happen to taste a bit more bitter in general, which is implied by having a higher alpha acid content, even though they were only used as late boil hops and dry hop additions. Either way, this was a fun one to put to the test, much like when I tested the impact of bound files in a cold IPA, and you can check out that experiment over here. And stay up to date with our other projects on brülosophy.com and our 2 podcasts, the Brew Lab and the Brülosophy podcast. See you next week.